Hey YouTube, I'm Ross Stewart with Stewart Media Digital, and first, like to talk, if you've seen a bunch of my videos, you may have noticed I end up with little bruises and scrapes across my face. That is because I train in mixed martial arts. I am not up to anything shady, so moving on to the video. Today, I would just like to talk about what I think is the real Holy Trinity. Now, if you've watched a bunch of other videos on YouTube, or you just like to learn about photography, you've probably heard people use the term Holy Trinity of lenses. Now, the idea behind the Holy Trinity is the three lenses that every camera manufacturer or brand puts out that covers a range within a relatively decent f-stop. So it's typically a 16 to 35 2.8, a 24 to 70 2.8, and a 70 to 200 2.8. So that gives you 16 all the way up to the telephoto 200 at 2.8, which is a pretty good aperture. So the Holy Trinity is covering that whole range. You can get landscapes, you can get portraits, you can get full body, you can zoom in, you can do sports, you can do some wildlife. 200 is not necessarily the best for wildlife. You may want all the way up to like 400, 600, whatever. But it covers most photography needs pretty well. But I would like to tell you what I think is the real Holy Trinity. Now, in my opinion, there's only one major difference. So I agree with, I have the 16 to 35 2.8 right here, and that's great. I use this for all types of shootings. I take it to weddings, I take it to corporate events, I travel with it, landscapes. A lot of great stuff with this lens on the wide end. And then on the far end, I also absolutely agree with the 70 to 200. You can get great portraits, you can zoom in, get speakers on stage, you can get the wedding ceremony, you can get people dancing across the room, you can get a lot of great stuff with this. But where my Holy Trinity differs is I don't think you need a 24 to 70. If you've got these other two lenses, you've got 16 to 35 and then 70 to 200. So the only area you're missing is 35 to 70. And that's where this comes in. This is a 50 millimeter 1.4 prime lens. Now, the reason I think that this is so important is because this gives you so much more versatility in terms of low light performance and the bokeh, those blurry backgrounds that everybody loves. 1.4 is 2 stops more light, which ends up being 4 times total light gathered, and 1.4 aperture gives you a hell of a blurry background. Those beautiful spheres of light in the background that everybody loves so much. These lenses are not quite gonna do that, and a 24 to 70 isn't really gonna do that either. 2.8 is still great, but it's not the same as a fast 50 millimeter lens. So additionally to that, I would say if you've got 35 and you've got 70, a 50 millimeter prime lens doesn't zoom in or out, but you can zoom in and out with your feet. Couple steps back and you can get a similar framing to something like 35, couple steps in, similar framing to a 70. So you're not missing out a whole lot on that range. But what you get in bokeh, low light, if you want those beautiful portraits, you want that beautiful subject isolation, between these three lenses, you can get anything that you need for almost all cases. Like I said, if you're sports, wildlife, you may want one of those extra long zoom lenses, or I've seen lenses that go all the way out to there's like 8 millimeter fisheye or ultra wides that are like, there's a 14 prime, and there's tilt shift lenses, and there's all sorts of crazy lenses for really specific stuff. But if you're a general shooter, in my opinion, these three lenses are the best lenses to get. I used to be a Canon shooter. When I switched to Sony, I didn't even buy a 24 to 70 because I barely use it. If I want something in the middle, I throw on my 50, and that gives me that great shallow depth of field, subject isolation. I get great portraits with this. I also get great portraits with this and with this, but so I don't really see any need for a 24 to 70. It'll also save you a few $100, and this is again, there's a Sony has a $200 version of this. Canon has a $100 version of this. They're obviously not as good, but they're still great options. So it's a great place where you can save some money when you're filling out your kit. So this isn't right for everybody's shooting style. And if you think that a 24-70 is right for the way you shoot, then by all means get that. This is just my opinion on what I think are the best 3 lenses to get you everything that you might need out of photography. So if this was useful in any way, please like and subscribe. I do gear review videos and just quick tutorials and quick opinion pieces like this. And if you're interested in any of these 3 lenses, please check out the links below and see you next time.